Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had an amazing Memorial Day weekend. I mean, I know it's still the holiday, so hopefully you guys are enjoying your Memorial Day today. We do have a lot to unpack here, and I got to say, I have been loving the comments. You guys have been super engaging this offseason, really giving a ton of different suggestions and things that this team needs to do to improve, and that's what we're doing. We're talking about everything this offseason and what the Pistons need to do to put themselves in a position to win an NBA championship. So we are going to jump right in, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Pistons Daily Podcast, your go-to source for Pistons content, game recaps, hot takes, and everything Detroit basketball. I am your host, Connor Koukios, and if you're a true Pistons fan, you are in the right place because around here, we live by one rule and one rule only, and that's don't let the stones get hot. Before we get rolling, I want to give a huge shout out to our friends over at Kalshi for helping support the show. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and share with your friends. And don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok by searching the Pistons Daily Podcast for even more content. All right, you guys, let's jump right into things. So the first headline might shock you here, right? How does Detroit keep Cade happy long term? I know that Cade Cunningham is bought in as a Piston, right? I don't question that. He loves it here. He was bought in since the draft. And he honestly had a really tough start in terms of the team that he was on, right? And the situation that he was in. You know, having that 14-win season is not something easy to bounce back from. And he's done everything he's possibly been able to do from that in order to put this team in a position where they can start being competitive and start to get on a path to win an NBA championship. He finished 5th in MVP voting this year, and he's about to make his second All-NBA appearance. This playoffs, he averaged 28 points per game, 7.5 assists, and 5.5 rebounds, and that's with dealing with the whole collapsed lung situation, which we are finding out was a little bit more serious as well. So this guy was just putting the team on his back, right, this entire postseason. But everything that I think that what we all can agree on and everything that we saw is that we're having to put a lot of pressure on him, right? And there's not a real true supporting cast. We talked about it previously. We do have a core in Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, and Cade Cunningham, right? But what is this supporting cast? What does this look like? How are we going to be able to put a supporting cast around him? What are we going to do to win a championship? And also, are we worried about when he approaches the end of his contract, what that looks like? Now, I know that that's a long ways away right now. We're not close to contract conversations with Cade. But in this era of NBA superstars, I think we can all agree that Cade Cunningham is a superstar. I believe he's a top 5 player in this league. We have to make sure that we're taking care of our superstar. What I mean by that is putting that supporting cast around him to make sure that we're at least contending for NBA championships in the next couple of years. Okay. We took a huge jump and a huge stride, and a jump that I don't think we were, as fans, were even ready to take this year, right? Getting 60 wins, being 1 seed in the East, huge step. But, I don't want to compare Detroit sports teams, and I know that baseball and basketball are different, and the Tarek Skubal situation is a lot different than Cade Cunningham. But here in this city, right, we have to take care of our superstars. We're dealing with it as Tigers fans. This is probably our last year with Tarek Skubal, who's arguably the best pitcher in baseball, right? And it stings watching to see a player potentially leave your smaller market town. As Detroit sports fans, it's not often that we get a guy like Cade Cunningham, right? It's been forever since we've had someone like this. I mean, honestly, you could make an argument it's really been since Isaiah Thomas, right? I mean, the 04 Pistons were great, but nobody was of this extreme superstar, top 5 player in the league type of status on that 04 Pistons team. That was just a quality team altogether with a lot of dogs on it, right? But we have a guy who is a top 5 player in this league, and I am worried that if we don't make the right moves and we don't act a little bit more aggressive, that could damage the relationship with him long term. We don't know, and obviously we're not there yet, but that's something to really look at, you guys, I think, personally. And it kind of brings me into my next point, which is the New York Knicks. Now, I can't stand the Knicks, and I want to start it off by saying that because I did not want to put the Knicks as one of my headlines in this, but I think it's worth pointing things out because they are in a position where they could potentially go to the NBA Finals this year. I know there's a lot of series left, but they look pretty good right now. And regardless, the Knicks have made some moves that have put more talent around Brunson on this team, right? They're doing everything that Detroit really should be doing. The biggest problem this season for us was obviously the lack of offensive production. And, you know, when you look at what the Knicks did in terms of their draft picks and everything, the Knicks decided to keep their picks and play things safe. If they decided to keep their picks safe, they would probably be in a similar position as us, right? In an article written by Jack Simone from Pistons Powered, he stated, and I thought this was really interesting, he stated, New York gave up picks in the deal to get Karl Anthony Towns. They gave a pick in the deal that brought Hart to the Knicks, and most famously, they gave up a ton of picks in the deal that landed them Bridges, end quote. He also stated, this is another quote, he also stated that Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert's contracts could net the Pistons a very good player in a trade if they attached enough picks in the deal. That's what the Knicks did. That's what the Pistons should do, end quote. Now, that really stuck out to me, you guys, because I can't stand the Knicks, but they seem to be doing something right, and they do have a pretty good team with a really good supporting cast. They even made some moves at the trade deadline that I think helped them as well. The Jose Alvarado trade I thought was pretty good, and it pains me to give them their flowers, but you know they've made a lot of changes. I mean, even firing Coach Tibbs and getting a new coach and Mike Brown. So. I'm not saying that this is what the Pistons need to do. They need to fire JB Bickerstaff and all that. I am not even close to any of that. So I just want to make that very clear. But what I am saying is that the Knicks did do something around their bona fide superstar in Jalen Brunson. And I would like to see the Detroit Pistons do that with Cade Cunningham. We do not want to see him in a position where they're really is no help and we're doing the same thing every year. You kind of see that with the Timberwolves a little bit right now with Anthony Edwards. It feels like he can't really get over the hump because of the supporting cast, that they're not really stepping up and giving what they need. I mean, they had some moments where they were making some runs, but really it's just hard to win an NBA championship. A lot of things got to go your way. A lot of luck has to happen as well. I'm a firm believer in that. But it is worth pointing out that I think New York did do a great job building around Jalen Brunson, and we are kind of seeing that right now, unfortunately. And I know, guys, I really wanted the Knicks this year. Can't stand them. But listen, moving forward, you guys, the playoffs are here, and it is the most electric time in basketball on Kalshi. You can trade every single playoff game, every series, the conference finals, and the championship. The Spurs are trading at 41% to beat the Thunder, meaning a $100 trade pays out $234 if they win the series. As the playoffs heat up, those numbers move in real time, and you can buy in or out at any time. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position for a limited time. Download the Kalshi app and use code FANARCHBASKETBALL to get $10 when you trade. 10 Kalshi, Kalshi. Trade on anything. All right, you guys, let's jump into some more news surrounding Jalen Duren. So, a lot of this is from Pistons Powered. I have been loving some of the articles that I'm reading on there. I highly recommend if you guys haven't taken a look at some of their content. But I think we finally have an idea. We don't have an exact number of what we're going to pay Jalen Duren, but we know that the Pistons want to come to a deal with Jalen Duren. And I think as fans, we're all kind of wondering, okay, what does that price tag look like? Because I think that's going to determine a lot of what goes down this offseason. In an article written by John Kennedy of Pistons Powered, he stated that an NBA insider, Sam Vecini, said that, and I quote, Detroit will likely match any offer for Duren this offseason unless it reaches an unexpected value. Pretty interesting, end quote. He also stated, and I quote, I think the Pistons match on Duren, Vecini said. Unless the number is $40 million or something, I think they're just going to bet on their guy, especially considering he has a very close relationship with Cade Cunningham, and I would imagine Cade won't want to lose him, end quote. So, yeah, like, we don't want this to be $40 million, like something crazy. I mean, this guy did not have a good playoffs. I don't think he's worth an insane amount of money, but it does sound like we will be matching an offer. And I'm curious, I want to open this up to you guys, right? Like, what is the number that you pay Duran? You let me know in the comments. What number do you think it is? I've heard some people go super low, and I've seen some people go give him a max contract in the comments. So I need to hear from you guys, the people, because we need to have conversations around this, approaching this. This could have a serious impact on this team and what happens in this offseason. So we need to let's get some ideas around this. What do you guys think he's worth? I personally do not think he's worth a max contract. I think that's very obvious. However, I am in the camp of paying him and keeping him because of the relationship he has with Cade and the fact that he's only 22 years old. He had an all-star season. I think he does have potential to grow and develop even more. I can't pinpoint what a number in my head of what I really want. I go kind of back and forth on this, so that's why I kind of open things up to you guys and see what your thoughts are on this. So let's keep things moving here, you guys. So I wanted to get into some comments here from you guys and kind of get an idea, read some of your guys' takes and kind of see what it is that you guys would like to see this team do and see this team kind of grow. So this one is from, I'm reading right here, from Gusto2954. Why don't we want them to get hot? Meaning the Stones. All right, so this is a quick little story time. I came up with the slogan, "Don't let the Stones get hot," on my TikTok page. That's when I started making Piston content this year. This is something I used to say with my friends. Like, we loved when this team started getting, going on a win streak, and especially last year, getting into the playoffs and everything. So I used to joke around and say, you can't let them get hot. You cannot let the Stones get hot, baby. Don't let them get hot. So it was my saying, and I kind of wanted to bring that flair to the show. I understand it's a little bit tough to get, but that was just kind of my saying and something that I always live by. So that's why I always say we live by one rule: don't let them get hot. You cannot let the Stones get hot. So I had to clear that up. All right, this comment is from Awesomeness with a whole bunch of numbers that I don't feel like reading out loud. What up, Awesomeness? So he said, Awesomeness said, I truly believe that once we get, or if we get, another true shooter, Duren will immediately be better. Him being the only other threat up front puts way too much pressure and focus between him and Cade. Yes, there are other players that need to step up themselves, but less bully pressure for Duren will always be beneficial. Hey, Awesomeness, I appreciate the comment. I totally agree with you. I mean, that's what we've been talking about, right? We need more shooters. I think that's just going to help space the floor. It's going to take pressure off of everybody if we have more shooters, more role players, guys that can hit shots offensively. I would also like to add like shot creators to that as well, right? We talked about Kyrie Irving a little bit, and honestly, like, a few of you guys were pretty vocal in the comments too about Kyrie Irving. Like, I really think that if we get a healthy Kyrie, that is the most perfect fit for this team. Now, understand he's coming off an ACL injury, but if we can get him to be like, if he's like productive and the Kyrie that we all know, I mean, I know he's not going to be like his best prime Kyrie, but honestly, when he was on the Mavs, he had some really, really good moments. That could go such a long way, even for Duren, right, and Cade, just taking the pressure off of those guys. Duren just really is not. He's not a secondary scorer, right? But he is an enforcer down low, and so my big thing with Duren, I've said this to you guys, I think he's got to develop a little bit of a mid-range shot. I think that will really go a long way if he can find a way to kind of create his own shot down low and not have to be – we don't have to rely on him too much as a lob threat. That's going to be big, but I totally agree. If we get one more true shooter, this past year was really just Duncan Robinson. I mean, I know that we acquired or we traded for Kevin Huerter in the Jaden Ivey situation, but I just don't think Huerter could fit. I also don't think his shooting percentage, his three-point percentage is really that good anymore in comparison to previous years when he was a little bit hotter. So, if we could get another really good shooter, I think that would be, I think that would go a long way. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I love reading your comments, seriously, and I really appreciate everything you guys have been bringing to the show. The energy has been great, and thank you guys so much for being, welcoming me. I know this is my first kind of official full week last week with you guys, so it's been really exciting to talk Pistons with you guys. We got a whole off season ahead, lots to talk about here. Be active in the comments. This is the Pistons Daily Podcast. We are here 5 days a week. Once again, thank you so much to Kalashi for supporting the show. And lastly, don't let the Stones get hot. Peace.